Uh-oh. It's only Monday and the madness is already fired up. Pre-storm preparedness. Some Dunkin'. It is a dark and dreary day in the shop. What the heck is this? Someone's been working on my bay. Alright. Settle down, guys. Appreciate you tuning in. We're making it work. I'm Jimmy. If you're new and you're wondering, why is this guy standing in the dark talking to me? Well, this is part of our ritual, getting the shop open up so we can spend a day in the shop. We're going to fix a bunch of cars. We got some partially finished vehicles that we're hoping to get to today. We got a storm rolling in. You guys will be watching this a week later because it takes me about 25 to 28 hours to edit the videos for the week, the 5 videos I'd normally do. When I do extra, I can spend 30 hours editing. So there's always going to be a little bit of a delay of about a week. Sometimes I get them up sooner, all depending on what's going on. I try to make content that's a little bit entertaining, a little bit educational, and we can just hang out together. So that's basically how it goes if you're new. We got a lot of new subscribers this month. Things are going really well with that. Where we left off on this was waiting on another fan blade. Not supposed to be here today. It's quite a bit going on. Quite a bit going on. This one needs a transmission. That's what they want to do, I believe. We got a dark, dreary, rainy, wet day. It's supposed to rain all day today. It rained all day yesterday. And then tomorrow it's supposed to be nice. And Wednesday we're supposed to get Milton. He apparently wants his stapler back. So it's really not funny. It's going to be pretty hard on people on the coast. It's going to probably be hard on us too. It looks like it's going to come right over us. But normally a storm will kind of lose steam as it goes over land, unlike what happened in North Carolina. Dropped 2 feet of rain, and that's what did a heck of a lot of damage for those people up there. That might happen here too, and I'm flapping my gums a lot about it because I'm just kind of wondering while we wait for it to get here. Tornadoes, you don't get any warning. Hurricanes, you get warning, get to prepare a little bit, but what do you really do? They say evacuate, but where do you evacuate to? And how long do you evacuate? And when you're coming back, how do you get in? One thing I noticed in North Carolina, let's talk a second while we're at it. I noticed in North Carolina, a lot of people having a hard time getting back to their property. The government won't let them back to their property. So if you evacuate, then what? Of course, at least you'll be alive. That's the #1 thing, I suppose. Taking care of yourself and your family, and then finding out about your material possessions and your home. That's secondary. Third would be vehicles and being able to go to work and all that kind of stuff, try to get back to some kind of normal life. It can take months. The people in North Carolina are going to be, their way of life has been disrupted for months. Some of those people maybe years. I sent a little money to the Red Cross. I encourage you to do the same. I have a link in a couple videos ago. I'll put another one in there now while it's on my mind, and we have one coming here. Financially, we're all in pretty good shape here, but there's a lot of people that aren't. A lot of people, one missed paycheck, they're hurting. And if their house gets destroyed on top of that, imagine where they'll be. Pretty sad thing, but we're gonna get through it. You can't do anything about it except row your boat, and you may literally need a boat. Well, let's finish getting the shop open up. What I'll do is I'll put some clips in. I'm not sure how busy it's gonna be today. I know I'll be working on this charger behind me most likely. We'll see what else. 2014 C250, I believe this is. 2009 Toyota Corolla. There's tons of traffic, but probably not going to be a lot happening today unless people need to get out of town and get something done in their car, right? But you guys saw the clips, maybe you know. Let's get this place open up. Try to learn a thing or two. Keep our mind off of things and stay focused on what we're doing at the moment. And let's try and have some fun. That's the best way to deal with an unusual day, right? Let's get to it. Stay tuned.
What do you suggest I buy?
Hands here. Uh-oh, that's not right. Oh, this motor's bad. And hits keep coming. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. Not sure what happened over the weekend, but something happened. Oh well. They couldn't get me the metal pins on the CAN bus wiring on this 2014 Mercedes, if you guys don't remember, but they did get me the CAN block, bus bar, and the plastic parts, and we got some deoxit. I've used this stuff before, it's been a while. Normally I like to replace the connector, but if you can't get it, this stuff will work to clean up some of the corrosion and oxidation on the connector terminals. We're definitely going to try it out and see. We got to get past this to complete diagnosing this 2014 C250, I believe this is. We see a lot of these in the shop. Usually high mileage, and usually just bought from buy here pay here or something. 104,721 miles, which that's a lot for a Mercedes. Check engine lights on, tire lights on. It's got tons of codes, a lot of CAN bus codes. If you didn't see the videos on this car, it's been out in the grass for about a month. I just rinsed it off out here while it's raining and damp. It's the best time to clean the grass clippings off, right? The car is covered in grass. Anyway, keep smiling. We got some wiring diagrams. This car actually, when I brought it in last time, it finally did for me what it does to the customer. Sometimes it won't start, and the shift indicator doesn't light up. So the TCM apparently is going offline from the CAN bus system, and I found a dampness and corrosion in that bus connector that we got. So we're going to start cleaning all that up first, then we can find out if it has a problem with a module and that's a secondary issue or not. I know one thing: when I disturbed it, my shifter indicator lit up and it let me start it. So I have some hopes that that's going to be fixing our problem. Car's pretty clean. If you remember the video on this car from a few weeks ago, whatever it was, the seat's a little beat up, but it's in pretty good shape otherwise. Let's get this door opened up, show you what we got down here, and give this thing a lever rating of 8 and get started. They had initially laid this on a workbench for a few days, and I moved it over to where we used to keep our parts when they arrived, on the shelves in the corners, if they would fit, unless it was something big. When it's something big, then they would put it in the storage room back there and let you know it was here. But that's not how we do it anymore for some reason. I don't know why, but this connector has corrosion in it. I don't know if you can see it down there. See the corrosion on the pins? All the little green stuff you see is no good. I think this is the one that got me, and there's no corrosion in this one. But I'm going to deox it anyway. And since this one we got, I'm just realizing now, is not the same. I'm going to open this up and see if there's a module or anything in it, or if it's just a regular bar. If this changes resistance values or anything weird like that, like a terminating module would, then I can't use whatever one I want. If there's no module or anything in here and it's just a solid bus bar, then I can use this one if the connectors will interchange. There you go. Now this is just a bus bar, no resistors or anything I can see on here. Let me see if this one's the same connector inside. Basically, like a lot of things the past month or two, it's the wrong stuff. But we also waited almost a month for the wrong part. You know, what are you gonna do? It's part of one of the hazards of this business. And the connectors are different. If you look in here, barely different. See where this ends? And this one doesn't. So it's designed so that these connectors won't plug into the wrong block. So what I'm gonna have to do is deox it on this and deox it on these connectors, and hope that we've got a good connection. We'll go from there. This is a CAN bus. So the CAN system, the high-speed network, they talk to each other through this, and the purpose of this is for diagnosis. If I got a module pulling the system down, it won't talk. You can unplug them one at a time, see when the system comes back online. And there's like 6 of these on the car, from what I understand. I'm no Mercedes expert by any means, but we'll figure it out. So let's get this cleaned up a little bit. Now, I'm gonna put this stuff in here everywhere. And I'm gonna have to basically use the connector to clean it. That's my plan. I'm gonna deox the ones that don't even get a connector in them. That way I know corrosion's not traveling up that bus bar back where it doesn't belong. These connectors are not too cooperative as well, which will make it more fun. It's all part of the show. We just like to step up the entertainment, Hoovy style. I could even connect it to a different one if I feel so inclined, like it might help. But we'll see. We'll cross that bridge. If we have to move it around and try other pins, we can do that. But I'm not going to do that at first. I'm just going to put it back where it was, thinking that there's less oxidation where the connection was, where the connector was, and there's going to be more in other locations. Use this one too, get the product all over it. My plan is to get the blowgun. I'll take this away from the car and I'm going to blow it out periodically, deox it again. I'll do it a few times till I see no green or discoloration. There's a black mold and a green mold, and some of it gets a little white. I want all that off there. I just want to see metal. All right, I got an electrical test set. They sell these on AES Wave and places like that, but this isn't one of those kits. This is a copy, cheap. As rarely as I need to use it in the shop, I probably get it out 4 times a year. I wasn't going to spend $600 or whatever it was for the brand name one. This was like 130 bucks, and it works well. So I found a female and a male, and they fit each other. You have to make sure it's facing the right direction. They fit each other. This one fits the bus bar, so I can do a drag test, make sure the pin's not corroded away. Plus, it's cleaning it every time I plug it in and take it off, right? It's got a pretty good amount of drag. And I can use, and I can use this one on the connector side, make sure those terminals feel good. And then we'll put a couple more drops of this on and put it back together and see how she goes. I've got this very well cleaned and lubed up now. Now we're going to do this one. Use an assortment of paper towels, plastic brushes, and these connectors to clean everything up good. You never want to force these, because if you have to force it, it's probably the wrong size. This is one of the tiniest ones. I forget what it's called, like an 05 or 06. Generally, I'll look at the male and I'll get really close or start smaller than I think it might be and go from there. This one is a terminating resistor, I believe. It's got little chips in here, which are resistors probably. These two, I think, are resistors. And these are probably little modules, I'm guessing. I'd have to look it up and see exactly how this all works. I just remember reading something about it, how critical these are. And this is the one that got me. I could install that on here. It's not going to be something that's programmable, but it is going to be a critical component that might help us solve our issues. Since we have it, we're going to install it. Yeah, there's zero corrosion inside this one, but like I said, I got a new one I'm going to put it in, and I'm going to deox the pins as well. We are shooting for new car status, I'll tell you that much. I'm going to drag test all of these as well. Well, that's unfortunate. It's different. See how this is blocked over here? This connector doesn't plug in. So I don't know what car that fits, or maybe it goes in a different location, but I can't use it. So we're going to go through and clean all these pins and reinstall them on the same bus bar. Alright, we're all cleaned up, back together. Let's go ahead and see, make sure everything's modules are all communicating and everything's working, and clear some codes, see what codes come back before I button this up, because there's a small possibility that when this misbehaves, if the transmission control module is going offline, that could definitely be causing our issue. So I would have to look at the wiring and figure out which one of these would take the TCM offline. I can also check for activity with a scope on that connector. So let's do that before we put this all together. We are scanning some modules and finding some codes, but it's taking a while. I'm gonna let this run, get all my codes up in a list. I'll send a report, make sure we got them on file in case I didn't last time. Then I'll clear them, we'll see what comes back. We'll have a good idea which way to go. We'll probably take it for a drive, see how that all behaves, see if we get new codes, and then we'll go from there. Let's have a chat while it's cooking. I've watched a lot of videos this weekend about you know, people just bashing on different brands, bashing on mechanics, bashing on dealerships, bashing on all kinds of stuff. I guess that's what people like to do the most. Maybe it gets the views and clicks. You guys know we're not about that. Although I do have a little too much fun probably busting on certain brands and all that. I mean, they all break. Honestly, you get what you like and you work it out from there. But in any event, something that really concerns me a lot is the bashing on mechanics I hear. What people don't seem to realize, like I had a customer the other day come in and tell me that, matter of fact, it was that 72 El Camino I did all that suspension work on. He was concerned that it pulls under braking. And I said, yeah, there's something going on with your brakes. Remember, I went over all that with you. He said, all right, I'll just fix it myself, I guess. I'll do the brakes myself. He said, I gave you $4,000. I thought you'd have my car top-notch condition, front to back. I said, well, first of all, it's not going to be front to back. We're doing a certain repair. Everything was listed what we did. And second of all, I don't get $4,000. I might have got $400, and the shop got the other $3,600. And that's the way every repair works. People don't realize, they think the mechanics are thieves, mechanics are incompetent. But you have to understand that, this is a little rant, by the way, I apologize. You can fast forward if you don't want to hear it. But in the mechanic world, from the mechanic's perspective, this is how I see things. Every shop, every business, every dealership, they want to hire people that will work for the least amount of money. And getting the best results is not that important. I've actually been told that I'm too meticulous and I'm doing too much diagnosis. They said, we'll just deal with the comebacks when they happen. We'll get more work done, we'll make more money out of it. But that's not really how I work. It probably makes it a little harder to make as good. I could probably make a much better living if I just didn't care and I just knocked out a bunch of repairs and shotgunned a lot of diags and stuff like that. But the problem is, when people are seen as bad mechanics, it's probably most likely the shop or dealership you're going to that's the problem, not necessarily the mechanic. Because what they're doing is they're hiring someone for 18 bucks an hour, which is, you know, you can make more than that at McDonald's nowadays. And you want someone to get cut and burned and greasy and dirty working on a car for the same amount of money. And then you're giving them stuff that's outside their realm of capability. And then there's a problem, and the mechanic's a piece of crap. So I just wanted to point that out. It's not the mechanic. So this thing's just about done cooking now. Ooh, look at those codes. My gracious goodness. That is a lot of codes. No ECM codes. So, send a report. Clear DTCs. It's probably going to want the engine shut off. I'm not sure. And we'll see what codes we get back. Codes cleared. Switch off ignition. Okay. 10 seconds. We're about halfway. Switch ignition on. Okay. I'm not sure why Mercedes and BMW, I believe, as well, will have you turn the key on and off. I'm not sure what it does. I know it might be like restarting your phone. When you do a software update on your phone, you restart it. Same kind of thing, probably. Clear fault memory completed. Uh-oh. One or more signals from cluster CAN bus is implausible. Rain sensor malfunction. Communication with keyless go malfunction. Rain sensor malfunction. So some of those codes might all be related to the same issue. Instrument cluster CAN bus. Let me look that up real quick and we'll see if we need to do something with a separate bus bar. Okay, we aired up the tires, got all the dash lights out. I'm going to go in each individual module. See, the codes are still in those modules. When you clear them from the main page, they don't go away. So I'm going to clear them in each individual module that's giving me trouble. Then I'm going to drive it and see if any of them come back. Every time it wants you to do the ignition tango, so that's what we'll do. Even though it's gloomy weather and we got a storm coming, I still like to dance. What do they say? Dance in the rain? That's what I'm doing. All right, let me finish going through. There's about 4 or 5 modules that keep setting nuisance codes. That means there's codes in them that won't clear from the main. You know, after you do a health report, it lets you clear all the codes, but so we'll do them individually and then we'll go for a drive. All right, we have no lights on. We're gonna try a nice long road test. If you guys remember, this car came in initially with a bad battery and a bunch of codes, and we got rid of the bad battery problems. But we got some codes back after we drove it a few days. So I'm not sure if my 5 or 6 mile road test will show it up, but we're sure we'll give it a try. Traffic's pretty bad. There's a lot of people evacuating. And I think we're going to be closed Wednesday. Oh, new Tacoma. I think we're going to be closed Wednesday, but we're going to be open on Tuesday. I mean, if I was going to evacuate, I would just have to take Tuesday off. All I'm really doing is taking care of some of these problem vehicles and the classics that we have out in the grass that I've been waiting on parts and stuff. We did get a fan assembly for that Charger back there, so when I finish driving this, if everything goes well, then I'll be on the Charger next. All right, so far so good. Let's get on that Charger. Back on Mr. Charger. Can only turn that with pliers. So we're gonna have to send those fans back or something, I guess. We got a new one, probably dormant or UAC. Next best thing. Let's see if this is right. This is one of the things like I was talking about earlier, mechanics, you know. When I put this in, this aftermarket one, if it doesn't work and it fails in a month, you know, then you get second guessed, right? So my job is going to be to install the parts I have, make them work the best I can, and you know, then you're basically hoping for the best. I already know these don't fit on the replacement radiator. Kind of a shame, but it's the way it is. They're not, since the radiator is not the same width, these don't sit down on the radiator. But apparently that's what we're going with. So is there any point in really installing these at all? Probably. I'll probably lay them in there and see how it all feels like it fits. If it's going to fall out and cause trouble, then they'll have to get left out. Probably honestly wouldn't have a big impact on temperature or anything, but it could. They're in there for a reason, right? So we'll see how that goes. It's only plastic. I could force this one in and not feel bad about it. There's no threads yet. I'm gonna make my own, I hope. The other one, this was all broken out down here too, so we're killing 2 stones with 1 bird, how we like to do it. It's just laying down. It's been a few days. We got quite a few screws laying around, but I don't think it'll be too bad to figure out. These went to the motor. I can put these in our beloved hardware storage bin. It's only really got to be close. Yeah, all of that has to clear. I have to attach that afterwards. They make it so you got to take every single part of the car apart. You couldn't leave out anything.
Hold on, don't do your side yet. I gotta get past my line over here.
This side I got close to. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure doing business with you. Guys can try to stop us from fixing their cars. We're gonna fix them anyway. How do you like that, Dad? Now, that went on there a little easier than I thought it would. Get that clamp on, get it slide in about another 1/4 inch or so. We can let the car down and start buttoning up the other stuff. I think the first thing I'll do is get the upper mounts attached so the radiator doesn't do this. Then we'll get the condenser mounted back on it. And sometimes you can see the bump in the radiator neck. Sometimes you got to push your thumb in to feel where it ends. Make sure you pass that little bump so your clamp ain't coming back off. If you saw last Friday's video where I took this out, I've got two of my most helpful personal assistants, other than Rob, holding this thing up over the weekend for me. Should be 410 somewhere around here. Alright, this is the upper, so that this thing's not flopping around. Goes, just traps it like that. And it's adjustable up and down too. Obviously we want to have a good amount of tension on that. Some more bolts. I gotta figure out where this goes. It's from last week, so I don't remember. We'll figure it out. It goes in there somewhere. Didn't need to take any of this off. I did just in case. Trying to find my witness marks here. Put it back where it was. I've got to figure out where the custom wiring was and where it should be. I remember this harness was plugged in here, so this should go under it, right? Something like that should work. Well, that's kind of a shame. That's the radiator end. That's the thermostat end. But it goes right on the radiator with the clamp released, because I knocked it off as I was putting it in, and then I'm like, wait, it's not on. And yeah, it is. It is on. This end fits good. Maybe it goes the other way. I am going by how they had it. Remember, I had my Abrams clamp. Maybe that's why they put it on there, because it didn't fit that radiator. And maybe some of these problems I'm having with this radiator being slightly different, the hose doesn't fit. If the clamp's like that, maybe. Now that's even bigger, which is cool, because I got about an hour and 20 minutes into putting this back together, and either the hose is going to have to be different or the radiator is going to have to be taken back out, and all this have to come back off. Just these, the condenser and this, I don't really have to take the horns and the latch back off. I know that now. I started tie wrapping some of these up, cleaning all that up. I got that mounted on the bracket in there. It was tie wrapped to this before, but let me go talk to the front. All right, while I try to sort this out, the only options on the radiator we're seeing is 2 fans or 1 fan. That's the only way you choose what radiator you get. So you're gonna try to find a hose that fits this radiator next. And while we wait, I got an oil leak diag. This is a 2009 Toyota Corolla, 128,000 miles. Oh, that's easy. They lifted it up for me and told me, what do you think? Take a look at it. Someone has tried to silicone it, and someone has tried to JB weld it, and the JB weld isn't holding. So I'm going to say there's a crack there, or just a very sketchy repair on that pan. And we won't know 100% until we take it apart and have a look, see what's going on. It's angry about it though, I'll tell you that much. It's marking its territory like a Harley from the 40s. Everything else looks pretty good though. It's bone dry up top. The car's from up north, so it's got the mandatory salty road rust going on. So let me know, we may have to re-JB weld it. That fixes everything. Saw it online. I'm guessing with the hurricane coming, like I told you guys, the videos are a week behind, so we're like 2 days away from the hurricane, and it's just not much is going to happen, I'm guessing. I should probably just stay home and get vacation days. I'd probably do better, but I don't like doing that. I'd like to feel productive, like I'm getting some stuff done and making stuff work. That's what I'd like to do. I gotta do the free inspection, of course. You know, tires are all good, tires are good, brakes are good. The rear's drum for free inspection. The rear brakes look good. The wheel cylinders are dry. I don't hear any grinding noises. That means the brakes are good, right? Let's let them know what we found with this oil pan. And I gotta check all the lights and stuff like that and make some notes. And we'll see if anything happens with this one. If it was If it was up to me, I would take this pan down, get a good look in the block with a very good flashlight, clean up some of this JB Weld stuff, see if there's a crack. If there is, it needs an engine, or at least a lower pan, which this unbolts, but that splits the crank. That's like the lower half of the block. So I'm not sure how crazy you get with that. We'll see. All right, customer said, change the oil, take that pan off and have a look-see. That's what we're gonna do. I don't think the oil change was overdue or anything, but you gotta take the pan off. We're gonna change the oil. It's funny, I made that video about oil filter O-rings getting lubricated just to see how the internet would handle it, and it's having the expected effect. The comments are funny. Anyway, 10 millimeter. Once that oil finishes draining, we should be getting a good peak. Got a nice new gasket. I'm not wiping the old oil off. We're gonna keep the fun going. Oh, everybody feels so smart. That's just interesting to me. They don't know why. They just know they heard it. Let's grab a 10 and get this off of here. Should be able to pop that loose now. That could cause a leak. It's not really attached that good, even with all that silicone on there. What I really want to see is why there's JB Weld on the front. Man, it's all down the side of this block. Someone's fixing something. So what'll probably happen is it's gonna need an engine, and we'll just put the pan back on, re-silicone it, and he'll be on his way. Because this stuff goes all the way up here. Look at this. JB Weld doesn't fix anything. Not a lot of people know that yet, but as long as I've been doing this, 43 years now basically, never one time, not even one, have I seen JB Weld fix something permanently. Temporary maybe. Well, yeah. It needs an engine, if not at least a lower block assembly or lower pan. I'm not sure what they would call that, but all those welds are no good. The car must have been in an accident, and that's how somebody fixed it. So let me have them come take a look at it. Got some new silicone on here. Gotta make sure we don't have any fresh oil dripping in here. Shouldn't be too big of a deal. I just don't want it to leak from where I did the work. I let the RTV set up for a half hour before I put oil in it. Right down! Jimmy doesn't have a oil change specialty socket set. Well, sadly, we talked to this customer. She said that she just paid someone $3,000 to replace the engine because of the oil leak. And apparently they charged her $3,000 for that weld and JB Weld stuff they put on there. You know, the filter looks like it was changed. Let me change it again.
I was listening, they were saying something about they can JB welded a crack in this thing. That's some ghetto shit. And they JB welded it from the inside?
They JB welded it outside and welded it inside.
JB welded or welded it?
Well, it's hard to tell with.
Yeah.
It's globs of aluminum or something.
But then they didn't seal it up, I guess. It's leaking. They didn't charge it $3,000.
This is supposed to be in the cap. It's supposed to be in the cap, but it's not. Snowball. Oh my goodness, people. My question is, who did that to her? That's what I want to know. A mechanic or a shop? Oh, hell to the yeah. I'll start with 4.5 quarts, but see how that goes.
I've dare you.
A double dog dare you. You ever see that video about Tupac?
No.
At lunch I was watching a video about Tupac. You know, he was a hired actor by the entertainment industry. He was never a gangster. He didn't talk the way he talked as Tupac.
Yeah.
He was actually a gay black kid that they hired. He was an actor. And they found him in an acting school. He looked the part. He put the headband on and all that swagger and everything. He was an actor. There's a video of him, like when he was 18, 19 years old, 17 years old. He worked at a pizza parlor, and he wanted to try out in an acting audition for the gig to be Tupac. And his boss wouldn't let him leave to go do it. And he goes, well, I'm going to quit. The guy said, you can't quit. He says, so I stood on the table and lit a cigarette. And they were saying in the same video that, well, in the comment section, that Biggie's mom claims he was never a gangster too.
Well, I knew that he was never in a gang. No, I knew that for a while. He wasn't a Crip, he wasn't a Blood, he wasn't none of that.
Right now, it's not leaking, but it looks like it's starting to seep out right there. I'm guessing after it runs especially, it'll splash oil around and come out wherever it's cracked. But I think she's going to try to take it and get something else. She just got this car apparently not long ago, and then found the oil leak, and then paid someone $3,000 to put an engine in, which they apparently didn't. They tried to fix it for that. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier, but it's just a big mess. And she's very sad. So let's get her on the road and see what's next. I think we got a hose that might work for the old Charger. Like at lunch, I was looking at people going off on my oil filter lubrication video. Oh my God, people are funny. Clamps down there. High performance. I'll try to get down here with this. See if my ASCs are expired. When it comes to hose clamps too. That's what someone said. Let me see your ASCs, sir. If you think it's okay to put an oil filter on without cleaning the gasket surface and re-oiling the filter, let me see your ASCs. I don't believe it. There isn't even a single question about it on any ASC test. FYI. You heard that click. That's what we're looking for. Clamps on the side of the shroud. And we gotta get that. Barely fits on. Got something for this around here somewhere. I think we're about ready for that bumper. I almost forgot before I put the bumper on. I'm going to put the coolant in it. Make sure nothing leaks. So I took the clamp back off of there so I can air bleed out of that. That'll let me fill it a lot more easily. I don't have to get any extra tools or any of that. Pretty simple. That's the 50-50. I gotta find some more of that. Victory! These two little guide pins on either side. Allegedly, they'll help it go back. Now it's got that menacing Dodge Charger look again. Molded plastic, it's easy. Look at that. I didn't do it. Bunch of push pins, 10s in the corners, 10s over here, under tray, and some wheel liners. It's easy. At least came apart pretty easy. A couple electrical connectors, don't forget those. you. There it is. Couple of these. Couple of these. Ugh. This can go onto here. I prefer to do it from the top one. Probably should have plugged it in first. That's all right. Do that. I want to flop it around. That's the most important thing. Got quite a few of those to put in. Ooh, it's a little tweaked. This thing's like a crack whore. It's been tweaked out a little bit. That hose fits pretty good. I did have to add a clamp on the lower hose too because it was seeping just a little bit. And I did also get the wind deflector in here, although it doesn't fit great. I got it in there at least. I feel a little better about it. So I think we're about ready to fire this thing up. Coolant's full. I'm hoping that discoloration there is not an issue. Maybe, you know, let's just fire it up and see. What do you say? That's aftermarket, right? You know what that is? Oil separator. That's what I think it is. I'm not sure if it's factory though. I'm gonna have to get the jack back out too. I can't get it off. I'm gonna have to put a block, maybe I'll put a block of wood under there and then I'll be able to get the arms out, but let's see. High performance. All that's left now is to get these lift arms out from under it, let it warm up a little bit, check to make sure there's no air pocket, clean our hands, take it for a little drive. Yay! Careful, that's the scat pack. Fan's running, that's good. Coolant looks good. Wasn't the bus making all that ruckus. Air's working, that's why the fan's running right now. It's not warm enough yet. The temperature's barely coming up, but we'll get there. Make sure this thing's not going to get hot. It's running good too. No vibrations, no rough start. If this thing had a head gasket that was damaged, most likely you'd get a little bit of a misfire on startup, maybe even a startup misfire code, but none of that. So far so good. All right, nice hot air. Temperature's totally stabilized. Fan will shut off after it brings it down a few degrees. I'm gonna turn the air back on. Take this thing for a drive. There's a Hayabusa with a stereo. It's actually pretty cool cars. I wish they'd make a two-door version of it, which there's a rumor they might do it, but it's gonna have like a different power plant. No more Hemis. That's the rumor. You guys remember this one, right? I just fired it up, drove it right up here. Run like a champ. We're gonna take this coolant bottle out. Now you might look at that coolant bottle and say, what's wrong with that? I don't trust my pry bar. I gotta get another hood holding device, but real quick, there's a pretty good crack right here. That coolant bottle is no longer available. Nobody makes it. We couldn't even find a good one in salvage. Cash for clunkers. Got them all, I guess. They said, do you think you can make this work? I said, well, I mean, I can. I guess it'll hold more coolant than the broken one, because the broken one, it's broken right at the bottom. It's not like it even, if it cracked up here, it'd be different, but it won't hold any coolant. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to put that in next. And before we start, I'm going to get something else to put under here, because I don't want to lose what's left of these fingers. I think these just held on with this plastic sticking up out of the wheel well and some sheet metal nuts that are stamped and they're hollow, screwed down on them. So what I'm going to do is probably just use some self-tapping screws, screw it onto the wheel well, and as long as the coolant's above where that inlet is, what it does is as the coolant expands and heats up, it expands, it pushes coolant out to the overflow. Now if it overheats and gets really overfull, this is just a vent. This just goes to atmosphere and dumps coolant out. But what happened is it does that hot, and when it cools down, rather than drawing air in or having an air pocket in the system, it's a sealed system, so it'll take some coolant back into the radiator as it cools down and contracts, rather than having an air pocket like a lot of older cars. They just had air in the top of the radiator. It would expand and take up the air chamber, and then it would contract and there'd be air in the top. Wasn't really a very well sealed system. Anyway, some kind of an overflow will work. I might get one of these for the old 62 actually, because I don't really like that soda bottle in there. It's a little silly. This holds like 4 soda bottles worth of fluid. Let's get some drills and some self-tapping screws and see what we can come up with. 11 millimeter, aka 7/16. Show me what you're working with. Well, I'm gonna have to get these clamps open. This one here is gonna go to the bottom of the tank. This one I don't need. I don't think my pocket screwdriver will do it. Let's try. It's an old snap-on. Yeah. Cool. That's the first time that's been off since 1984. Hey, don't make me take that cross brace off, you turkey. We got plenty of room. The only concern I have is mounting it a little too crooked. But I don't have a lot of options because I can't close the hood if it's up there. And I don't know if this is going to work. You won't be able to put coolant in and out of it too easily. You'd have to use a funnel, I suppose, and you can only fill it about halfway. I'm not sure if this is going to work. Alright, let me have somebody important take a look at it and call an audible. Put on the light so you can see my pretty face a little bit. Oh, look at that thing. Alright, I talked to Miss Katie, get her part number. It looks like some of the El Camino Monte Carlo reservoirs are similar. This reservoir is not available. There's people wanting 130 bucks from on eBay, and they look like hell. It says holds coolant. So the Monte Carlo and El Camino reservoir is similar. At least it has a curve on the bottom where I can probably make it fit, and they're like 45 bucks. So we'll see if she can dig me up one of those. We're gonna start buttoning this place down for today. It's nasty and rainy out, and not a lot going on. I mean, everyone was pretty busy, but I just been finishing up work I've had laying here waiting for parts for weeks. Maybe tomorrow will be a better day, although tomorrow is going to be the last day of hurricane prep before the actual hurricane gets here. And even though you'll be seeing this late, you're still going to go through it as I do. I got to take care of some stuff around the house and all that too, so I'm even considering not coming in tomorrow. I'm not sure yet, to tell you the truth. At least we got something done today. That's the good news. We got his charger back for him, so he'll have that with the hurricane coming in and all. You need your wheels. You got to get out of town probably. Thanks for watching, guys. We're ending it here. Torque the like button before you head out. And if you do live in Florida as well, good luck to you in this thing. Looks like it's only going to hit Florida this time. Hope I see you in the next video. You're awesome.